Back in 2006, Jordan Brand released a pack they called the Defining Moments Pack. Now, 17 years later, one of those sneakers has returned, but it isn't exactly the same sneaker. Does this mean it will end up at a Nike outlet near you? Thanks so much for tuning into the Soul by Soul YouTube channel. My name is Frankie. I'm happy you decided to join us here today. If you're new to Soul by Soul, we review sneakers, talk about the latest in the culture, and ultimately, we're here to facilitate a community with you watching. The holiday season is here, which means it's time for some Air Jordan 11s. Jordan Brand has made Air Jordan 11s dropping around the holiday season a tradition for sneakerheads. And this year, one of the best Air Jordan 11s has returned. The Air Jordan 11 Gratitude comes to us on December 9th. We were able to get it through exclusive access. Thank you to my coworker who was able to cop the sneaker for me in my size. But before we get into the sneaker, let's talk about one of the biggest differences: how the sneaker got to us. Now, the Air Jordan 11 DMPs were a part of a pack called the Defining Moments Pack, which featured 2 sneakers in 2 boxes. The DMP 11s came in a box that paid tribute to Jordan's 4th NBA Finals championship in 1996. It was a black box that featured an image of Jordan from the 96 championship season wearing Air Jordan 11s, and it even had 96 written in gold on it. In 2023, Jordan Brand decided to do something a little different with the box, instead playing off the name they assigned to the sneaker, Gratitude. So the black box features a gold Jumpman logo on the top of the box, along with the 23 logo synonymous with Air Jordan 11s on the side. Once you open the box, you're met with a message that means to say thank you. While it isn't exactly written out for you to decipher, it is 8 characters, and this letter right here gives it away to me that the box is trying to say thank you. Lastly, the paper that is wrapped around the Air Jordan 11 Gratitude has thank you written in multiple languages that you can see here. Even though it isn't as defining, if you will, as the 2006 box, this is still a really cool box that elevates the sneaker itself. So with the box out of the way, let's talk about the big differences on the Air Jordan 11 Gratitudes compared to the DMPs. The biggest difference on the Air Jordan 11 Gratitudes is the material used on the upper. Traditionally, the Concord 11s, which the DMPs took inspiration from, have ballistic mesh material used. With the Gratitude 11s, that mesh has been replaced with a premium leather. When you look from afar, you really don't see a major difference. But when you look close and when you feel that leather, you can definitely tell the difference. And it is this difference that has some sneakerheads up in arms about this release. While I can understand the frustration with the fact that the Gratitude 11s don't exactly match the specs used in the DMP 11s, I do think that the change to leather does elevate the sneaker. And more importantly, it's going to allow for a much better sizing experience, which I'll talk about a little bit later in this video, so stay tuned. Another difference is the mudguard. While patent leather returns, as is traditional with Air Jordan 11s, the patent leather mudguard is actually slightly elevated around the toe box. It's a tiny difference, but one that I actually am a big fan of, as it makes the mudguard more pronounced in a way that doesn't fully compromise the look of the Air Jordan 11. The outsole is a little milkier than the original DMPs, as those were a little bit more golden to drive home the defining moment theme in 2006. I actually like the look of this outsole a lot, and I think I prefer this coloring than a true blue icy outsole like you see on Concord 11s. Lastly, there's something in this sneaker that isn't on the DMPs. It's actually a secret message, and you can only access it when you look into the sneaker. If you look behind the tongue in the inner lining tag, you will see that there is the same message that greets you on the box, thank you, which again is just driving home the gratitude theme that is on this 11 pair. Overall, I think this is an amazing sneaker. It's a modern twist on a classic, one of the best Air Jordan 11s that have ever released. And look, while I can understand frustration, again, as I mentioned, that exact specs are not met there, this is going to create a better sizing experience. The fact that the mesh has been replaced with this leather material. So let me explain sizing while you can see this sneaker on my feet right now. So when it comes to the Gratitude 11s, here's my thoughts on sizing. I typically go true to size on Air Jordan 11s. I'm a true size 10.5. on most Air Jordan models. I do have an Air Jordan 11 that is a half size up, size 11, in my collection, but it is a little too roomy for me. And that's with the ballistic mesh that's being used too. With the Gratitude 11s, I got them in a size 10.5. And because of that, I recommend people stick with their true size for this Air Jordan 11. The tumbled leather allows for a much more breathable experience for sure. I do feel like the sneaker is a little bit more comfortable around my feet as a result. So, whatever you typically get when it comes to Air Jordan 11s, stick with it. And stick with that because rumor has it, 1 million pairs have been produced, which means there's going to be so much opportunity for you to get this sneaker. And with the controversy of the change in material and how that affects the style of the sneaker, it actually wouldn't surprise me if these sneakers do actually sit. However, as history has shown, even if people are not big fans of the Air Jordan 11, I think the Jubilees, I think the Cherries for example, they still sell out eventually. So if you really want this sneaker, I think you're gonna have a great chance at getting them for retail. If you don't, I do think you won't be paying an exorbitant amount to get this sneaker on the resale market. I think this is gonna hover, if not at, very close to retail. I don't see these going to 300, despite the fact that yes, it is a take on one of the best Air Jordan 11s to have ever come out. And with retail being $230 on this pair of sneakers, that's also gonna make it tough for somebody who does want to flip this shoe to really stomach that. So again, if you want this sneaker, I do think you have a really solid chance. The Jordan 11 Gratitude is going to be a cornerstone in my collection. I've always wanted the DMP 11s. I know these aren't exactly them, but hey, it really is them. And I'm very happy that they're a part of my collection. But what about another sneaker from the past that saw a release in 2023? Check out this video here where we review the Terror Squad Air Force 1 Blackout.